Okay, so the paper is wet and I'm just going to leave it a couple more seconds before I start. In that time, we can mix up some paint because we need quite a bit of it. I'm going to I'll pull this in front of me so that you can see. So I'm going to start with a bit of raw sienna. So I have a pool of raw sienna. We need quite a bit, really. Not too watery, but because we've got plenty of water on. We need a pool of burnt sienna. Um, a pool of raw umber. I'm going to run out of places to put pools in a minute. All right, one pool of raw umber, and then that's this is burnt umber, I think, or is it sepia? I don't know. Burnt umber. There we go. So that's it. And then I should just use a bit of yellow as and when because they'll run out of. Well, actually, I'm going to use a bit of cad yellow and just put it. Oh, that's mucky. That is mucky. Yeah, clean water I thought I'd got. Anyway, right. I'm just going to get a tissue to dab that mucky bit out. Check your paper now. If it's gone a bit dry, that's fine. Just give it another squirt. So we're now glistening and we're ready to go. Big brush. I've gone really big. This is a size 16. The biggest one you've got, really. Into the water. Don't have it too wet. And we'll start off with that yellow, the raw sienna. And I am just hitting the paper with it. I'm sure there is a technical term. What I want it to do also is to run a bit. So that looks wonderful, doesn't it? But this is the start of it. So you can see that I had enough water on there and enough colour to make it run and to give it a splodged look. And into the next colour, the burnt sienna. Again, it says I'm just hitting it. This bit is just preparing the background. Don't do it all over. Do it in because you think it's going to be It's going to be trees. So then into the raw umber. I'm sort of keeping this bit light because that's where my path will probably be, and the trees won't, it won't be so dark. And then the dark, I'm just doing it at the bottom, pushing it up a bit so that it becomes shadows and such like. And mine hasn't run as much as it should, so I'm going to give it a little bit of a spray just down the bottom there, just to make it run down a bit. As you can see, it's starting to migrate. And I'm just placing the blobs. Oh, I've got absolutely nothing up there. Don't be afraid to spray it. And then if you've washed out a little bit too much somewhere, just go back in with the colour. No, I always do want that. And that is that. I'm just going to put some down here because it's still not coming down. Just putting some blobs of colour in there. Now I'm going to do 3 trees this side and 2 that side, main ones, that is. So starting at just a bit above where you think your waterline might be, start drawing a tree trunk. Leave gaps in it because that will give the idea that there's foliage obliterating the view. So that's tree trunk number 1. I'm just going to make that a bit thicker down the bottom and a bit thicker on that one, and then it gets thin. Tree trunk 1. Because I'm working the wrong way, I'm going to put my hand all over it. Number 2. Up we go, leaving a couple of gaps so that the leaves are spoiling the view. And number 3, I'm just going to do a little bit out the way. Got a kink in it, that one. And some over this side, so that's 1. These 2 are friends, they're close together. And that's 2 for that side. And that's all we need to do at the moment. So we've got to know where they are. Now I'm going to determine where the water line in. So I've got my rigger with damp water, clean water, and holding the rule, I'm going to go along the edge of the, to lift the water. Then with a clean tissue, pull it out. That's, maybe it's not going to work too well, and we should have to, we'll have to do it without the ruler, but it's going a bit. And we can always help it once the ruler's gone, if we can see a very faint line there. Have I got a faint line? Yes. Yep, one has a faint line. What more can one ask for? And I just dropped that brush. Where did it go? There it is. So with tissue in hand now, I am going with my damp brush. I'm going to just agitate along that faint line to try and make it less faint. Just doing a little bit at a time, and then with a clean bit of tissue, wiping it out. If all else fails, we use a bit of gouache or acrylic white. I'm not that precious about it. But it is gradually appearing, which is something. I think that might have to be it at the time being. We're going to use the same method to get some light tree trunks in there in the background. So with a damp brush, choose somewhere to start. I'm going to start over with these, and a little bit further back than the ones that you've got. Start agitating the paint. Again, leave a few gaps so that the foliage goes over the tree. Leave it for a few seconds and dab it out. And hey presto, I have a light tree trunk. So do another one. A little bit further back. A bit there. And a bit there. Two light tree trunks. They don't have to go anywhere, these, because they get lost in the canopy above. This one over here. So a little bit. You can, and then a little bit more, and a bit more. Joining those two up. I'm just going to put one in between these two trees here, starting quite a way back. So that's that side done. If you want, you could just make a few little short ones. And I've got one here that could possibly do with a branch, so I'm just going to give it a branch. And that's probably it for that side. Is it all working okay for you? Yeah, good. Okay, so I'm going to do another little one here right by the side of the path on the original side that I was doing. And just doing it at an angle so that it comes over the path a bit. You can just about see it. It's getting a bit light there, so and attack the other side. Let's start off over here. Well, we've got plenty of room for them over here, so put in as many as you want. If it doesn't show up well the first time, have another go at it. I'm going to do one here in between these two. Put them close together because trees grow quite randomly. Working over. And coming back to where the path might be, I'm just doing a couple. That overhang the path. They're not very visible really. I'm probably going to use a very light mix of the tree trunk to show those up. The paint that we use for the tree trunk. You can put in extra bits. And the more you put in, really, the bigger the wood appears. It gives it depth. And I think that's it for my lifting my trees. Oops. Because some of the background is light, it's a little bit difficult to actually see where I've lifted and so. So I'm taking some of the burnt sienna, quite a light mix, and just drawing some tree trunks. You can hardly see them, so I'll do them a bit thicker. Drawing some tree trunks where they can't be seen. It's just a so that you've got this idea of this path going through. They're very faint, and it's just a suggestion. It's not it's not meant to really portray what they look like, but you're trying to get the depth there. Oh, with the rigger full of the dark brown pet paint. Start again. With the rigger full of dark brown paint, we're going to make the reflections. So I'm going to start off with this. I always start at the right. Start off with this one. Leave a little bit of a gap because it doesn't start where right at the waterline. So I'm pulling it down and then I'm getting my finger and pulling it. Now I've got a mucky finger. Starting this one's got a bit of a lean. So we're reflecting that lean. And this one hasn't. This one goes straight up. A dark colour on and pull. Oh, we need more colour. Pull. Pull. I start with this lot over here. That goes slightly that way and then round. So we'll do this slightly that way. And this one goes quite a bit that way. Just helping them a bit. And really, I think we want them to come out of the picture almost. I think that's probably it. And we'll move straight on to some branches. Branches need to be thin and wiggly. Start off with this little chap at this end. So we're holding the rigger halfway up and resting your arm instead of your wrist. Pull out a branch. Now, does this tree is in front of that tree? So this branch has got to go behind that tree. So I'm going to do another one there. And that can go across there like that. And one there. And that can stick up above. We probably need a couple this side. Very light strokes for these. That needs to be a bit thicker down the bottom there so that it joins it properly. and little branches on the sides. And that's probably it for that one. You can do some disjointed ones because the foliage is covering it up. And then we'll do the rest. I shan't record all this because now I'm going to put a few sharp leaves on there now. We don't want too wet paint. And we can choose where the leaves are going. So I'm going to have some up here. I am just hitting the paper with my best brush, really. Can make some a bit darker. Don't do too much, otherwise the overall effect will be lost. Where a tree has ended up in the air, I've just put some on. At the same time, we can then, above your lifted watermark, using various colours, we can make foliage. So I'm dipping into those colours again and trying not to go over the waterline that I've marked. And I'm putting foliage in. Autumn grasses. I'm tapping the paper and also just flicking up as well to get the grass. I'm just going up slightly up that path, not too much, and I've rubbed it out a bit with my finger. Just to mix it up a bit, I'm just going to add a little bit of a red. I'm using a little bit of that red in that path just to wind it back there because it'll be lighter than the rest. Now I'm going to swap back to the rigger, go into that ready umber and just flick some grasses in places. There, I'm just going across the path. There. We need to reflect that. So back to the brush, back to the colours that you put the grasses, and paint a strip. And with your finger, pull it down. Work your way across. And even that bit there is a little bit, you've got a little bit of grass growing over, so if the grass is a bit taller on the land, make this thicker. So that got some tall grass there. So I'm going to go across there and then come up to where the tall grass is reflected. And then just swipe across. If you have got some really tall grasses, I have at this end, make some grasses and pull down. And I've got some this end as well. So make grasses, pull down. I've got some here. Pull down with your finger. And I think that that is probably that. I might want a little bit of yellow up there. In fact, what I'm going to do now is get some of that lovely bright yellow. I'm going to splatter probably it and me everywhere. I don't think it's going to show. And put some in the water as well. And we'll have some of the dark as well. Have the dark lower down. And a bit in the water. And that is that.